Hey everybody, this is Dr. Scott. This is kind of just an impromptu video that I wanted to shoot tonight because over the last few days, I don't know when you'll be watching this, but April 2024 is when I'm shooting this. And a few days ago, I had the opportunity to collaborate and partner with an amazing place here in Lincoln, Nebraska, LP Fitness and Transformation Center. And I'll tell you, they're a gym in Lincoln that their passion and drive and enthusiasm for helping people with their fitness and weight loss and health in general is second to none. And they hosted a talk with me as the speaker over hormones, cardiovascular risk factors and disease, and weight loss resistance. And I'll tell you, it was phenomenal. It went great. I didn't even have time to go over all the information I wanted to go over that night. We had a great turnout, and I've had an overwhelming response with people who weren't able to make it that have wanted the recording. So I pre-recorded that content, so sent that out. But in that talk, and the purpose of this video tonight, I hit a lot on, when there's hormone dysregulation, when there's, cardiovascular risk and weight loss resistance. Those were the three big topics. And although those may seem unrelated, they are very, very, very intimately intertwined and interwoven, just as every system of the body is. Our human bodies are an ecosystem, right? Everything works together for optimal health. You cannot separate systems of the body. You can't separate the cardiovascular system from the respiratory system, from the nervous system, from the endocrine system, from the digestive system. It just doesn't work that way. They all play into and from each other, right? And so that was one of my points on Sunday when I gave the talk. And one of the things that's probably, there's a lot of things that are common out there as far as what we deal with in our health and what causes things, right? So if we're looking at a deeply rooted, like what's really under the surface of everything that we're struggling with, hormone dysregulation is probably one of the most common things, the most common things people are concerned about. What is that? It's inflammation, okay? Chronic low-grade inflammation even. And where does that inflammation come from? Well, again, a million things. You're not sleeping, you're not eating right, you're not resting, you're not exercising. I mean, you're just filling your body full of chemical toxicities. There's a million things. But one thing that I think strikes a chord with everybody is stress, right? Stress, emotional stress, physical stress, chemical toxic stress. All of these things are cumulative, right? It's not like we have all this stress, a couple years ago and now it's just all gone, right? Stresses in our life, any of those three categories of stress, accumulate over time, and they really can deeply root themselves or deeply seed themselves in our nervous system, in our gastrointestinal system, in the systems of the body, right? And so if you aren't aware of that, just talk to any mental health therapist who's trying to get into those systems of the body to help people release maybe that emotional trauma, abuse, things like that are causing physical manifestations of whatever symptoms they might have. So mental health is a huge deal. Now, a big part of all of this dysregulation is the stress hormones, one of those being cortisol, right? Now, again, I'm not going to go into great length in this what I intend to be short video, but cortisol is a stress hormone produced by your adrenal glands, which sit on top of your kidneys, right? There's a whole axis of communication, right? It's called the HPA axis, hypothalamus, which is in your brain, your pituitary gland, which is in your brain, and then your adrenal gland, HPA, right? So that's communicating this brain-body communication, also communicating with our gastrointestinal system, our gut. And so basically what cortisol is a stress hormone. It's a needed and necessary hormone, right? It's a good guy. A lot of people think it's a bad guy. It's a good guy, right? If it's working the way it's supposed to work, it helps us get out of, life or death situations, for example, like that sympathetic fight-flight response that we might need. Cortisol, adrenaline, these stress hormones really are necessary. The other thing that's great about cortisol is it's actually anti-inflammatory in nature in the right dosage and over shorter periods of time. And that's the key. So cortisol is an anti-inflammatory thing. It also plays a huge role. One of its main roles is in blood sugar regulation. So, if your blood sugar's dipping, cortisol's released, right? And it's going to tell the body to release some of the stored sugar, some of the stored glucose into your bloodstream so your body, can use it for energy, right? So that's a crucial thing that cortisol does. Now, why can cortisol also be really, really bad? Okay, going back to the chronic underlying stress that a lot of us have. Chemical, always being bombarded with chemicals, way externally, environmentally, what we're putting on our skin, what we're putting in our body, in our food. Chemical loads are just too high for our liver and kidneys and everything to detoxify this day and age. So most of us need help in that. And then the emotional stress, of course, life is just coming at us from a million miles, from a million directions, a million miles an hour almost every day, it seems like, right? And then the physical stressors, right? Sitting at a computer all day, or if you have a manual labor job, those are all physical stressors that take a toll, right? So all of these things are going to pump up that cortisol. If you're in that sympathetic nervous system, fight, flight, freeze type of mode, a lot of your day, every day, day in, day out, not only is that a mental health concern because there's anxiety, there's depression, there's things like that can manifest, but it's also going to wreak havoc on your gut. And it's also going to wreak havoc on your HPA axis. So those adrenal glands are going to continue to pump out this cortisol, and it's going to cause this blood sugars to spike, right, and go up. Insulin goes up. Insulin, what does it do? Well, it tells the sugar you're too high, so you need to go somewhere, right, and store yourself. So it stores itself in fat cells, which is where weight loss resistance comes in. And then all of these things combined can lead to a lot of inflammation. And that inflammation can then lead to, I mean, again, fill in the blank, a million different diseases, conditions, issues, musculoskeletal, arthritis, fibromyalgia, but cardiovascular as well, right? Cardiovascular disease is still the number one killer in America in men and women. Heart attacks, arteriosclerosis, atherosclerosis, strokes, all of these things are killing us at it seems like an accelerated rate, right? So underlying a lot of that, the bad guy often is cholesterol and triglycerides. Yeah, those are important things. I would never say they're not. But are people looking at blood sugar regulation? Are people looking at the HPA axis, that cortisol, right? You can easily test where your cortisol levels are all day long to see if you're in the right place. Are they too high? Are they too low? Because too low of cortisol is also not a good thing, right? So these things can be tested. So why would you guess when you can test, right? That's where functional medicine comes in, because the functional labs, the functional medicine labs that we do, we need to test the gut in so many people, because the gut has to do with everything I just talked about, right? Inflammation and malabsorption and so many things, hormone production, all of these things, right? We can easily test your blood markers for inflammation. Is your body full of inflammation? If it is, we need to figure out the roots and get down to the bottom of it. And then the HPA axis, right? You can do simple saliva tests to see where your cortisol is in the morning, at noon, in the afternoon, at night. And then based on that, we can better know how to address those concerns. Oftentimes lifestyle, right? You're just not doing the things that you need to do to let your body heal, rest, recover, right? But it might be, food, nutrition therapy, right? That's huge, right? Most of us aren't eating the right things. And then lastly, obviously, sometimes there's supplementation that can really, really be beneficial. And there's just so many things that I could talk about with this. If you're interested in more detail on this and all those subjects, hormones, cardiovascular risk factors, and weight loss resistance, just check out the video, should be right below this one, right? Because I pre-recorded that talk and it's free to the public. I just want you guys to have the information, right, at your fingertips, at your hands. And then obviously at the end of that talk, you're going to see I had a special offer. It's not going to last forever. So if you're watching this in 2027, I'm probably not going to have that offer available for you. So that's my disclaimer, right? But for the time being, right now, April 2024, $500 off if you want to work with me, right? And a 16-week kickstart program that's really going to transform and change your health and change your life, right? I have no doubt. But you have to put in the work, right? So anyway, that's just kind of like, I didn't even do this video to try to get patients. I just want you guys to have the information and the knowledge so that you can advocate for yourself. You can start changing your life and changing your health, right? And then if you do happen to watch this before April 13th, which is like in 4 days, I'm putting on another talk. It's called Optimizing Your Health, Fitness, and Recovery with Functional Medicine as well. So we're going to hit on some different topics, but they all seem to correlate and come back to the same things. Inflammation is huge. Your gut health is huge. Your nervous system and how that's regulating is huge. So, check out that talk live this Saturday, 8 a.m. at Lincoln Nutrition and Fitness if you're around Lincoln, Nebraska. But more than likely, I will also record that talk and post it up here as well. So subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Pass my channel along to friends, families. I'm just going to be putting out more and more and more content as the time goes on and as time allows me to do. All right, y'all. Have a great evening, and I'll look forward to talking to you again. Bye.